All right, listen up. Mando whole body deodorant is a game changer. I had a friend recommend this to me. I have not gone back since. Mando works on your whole body. Pits, packages, feet, you name it. It's dermatologist tested, gentle, and clinically proven to control odor for up to 72 hours. That's 3 days of smelling fresh. Mando's Deo Stick is aluminum-free, dye-free, and doctor-developed. It is perfect for long-lasting, irritation-free protection. Need something on the go? Grab Mando's deodorant wipes. 24-hour odor control without needing a shower. It's like a fresh start in the middle of your day. I got Mando products everywhere. I got them in my house. I got them in my shower. I got them in my car. I got them in my studio. You name it. If I go there, I bring Mando. Mando is tough enough for the strongest body odor, but gentle enough to put on all your sensitive spots. Plus, Mando is cruelty-free, vegan, and made right here in the USA. Are you ready to upgrade? Use my discount code to get my favorite whole body deodorant on the market. New customers can get $5 off a starter pack with the code Chael. That's over 40% off, including a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products, and free shipping. Use code Chael at shopmando.com or just click on the link below. Bo Nickal's biggest risk is that he falls in love with his striking. Now, this is such a common thing to do. It does not matter what a professional athlete you are. And Bo is the epitome of professional. You could go back to the time he was a boy. He is going to eat right, train right, sleep right, think about it, plan ahead, make sure he's having fun, never miss practice. I mean, it's one of these things, and I'm telling you right now, it does not matter. In golf, it's very common in golf. It's called falling in love with your swing. And guys do it all the time. You can't really get an athlete to not do it. So what I'm talking about with Bo and his biggest problem is that he would fall in love with his striking. A number of wrestlers have done that. I have seen in my life one get away with it. And that is Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson has knocked out more men than he has decisioned, than he has TKO'd by getting them on the ground and pounding them out, than he has submitted combined. And I share that because I don't have another example. There was some that got close. Josh Koscheck found a right hand that was very, very intimidating, as did Johnny Hendricks. But ultimately, when it came down to it, when Josh really needed a takedown, and that was the fight against George St. Pierre, when as good as that right hand was, it wasn't landing on somebody as dynamic as George. Just for example, it wasn't a matter of George's wrestling surprised us all and had caught up. It was that Josh's wrestling had diminished a little bit. He traded him. Josh Koscheck traded some great... Oh, Josh Koscheck was so good. Oh, my goodness. He traded great wrestling for really dangerous boxing. I can't give I can't say he didn't have the power. He did, but it's a trade. It has to be. That's just logic. You have X amount of calories you're going to burn in a day. You have X amount of time that you're going to be practicing a day. You have X amount of things that you and coach are going to work on in a day. You have X amount of time when you're going out in your live rounds that you're going to do in a day. And then you're going to go 3 rounds and the bell rings and you're done. And you don't stick around and go, well, I didn't do quite enough grappling today. That's not the way it works. You landed some good strikes that other guys didn't know was coming. You realize, hey, I'm finding a tool. I've got something natural here. I've got a great setup. And that was the thing about Koscheck and Henderson. I could throw Uriah Faber in on that. Uriah Faber was just more dynamic. He didn't just have one. But Uriah used the same setup. Used the same setup where he was throwing an uppercut, a hook, a cross. I know that. I stole it. I stole all of my own stand-up from Faber. Johnny Hendricks goes in the same category. And I'm bringing it to you because I don't know that that's going to happen with Bo. I just know that you get new tools, right? And you get new toys. And from the time you're a little child, when you get the new toys, you play with them. And you like them more than the toys that you've already had. It is just reality. It's just something that human beings do. And there are plenty of times, Paul Craig isn't going to exploit that. Paul Craig's the damn hard fight. But Paul's threats and problems come in other areas. If I look at, well, Robert Whittaker, for example. I think Robert Whittaker, stylistically, is as annoying of a matchup as Bo could find right now. I think that Drekas, I think that Sean Strickland, just for example, there are some very annoying ones. But Sean, I apologize, but Bo can be just as annoying back with his wrestling skills if he uses them. And that's one thing that Bo found in his last fight, right? This is the whole thing that makes me nervous about this. The whole reason I bring this to your attention is we saw it play out in his last fight. Bo won. Oh, by the way, completely dominantly. Oh, by the way, Brundage is a very hard night out. Bo did not have a very hard time. And then guess what when it was over? Bo was down. He was not celebrating. There was not an after party. Bo was not on his coach's shoulders pumping his fists into the air. He was beating up on himself. He thought it was boring. He thought it went too long. Well, yeah, you know who else thought that was a really long fight, Bo? Cody Brundage, who was stuck underneath you. When you got one leg in, when you got his ankle on the far side, when you're grinding your elbow into his temple, when you're dominating and wearing him down and you don't have a drop of blood or a scratch on you. And so many guys will get into that same mindset. Well, I'll tell you one that didn't is Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier not only never fell in love with his striking, he never got away from his wrestling. And even if Daniel wasn't training to that level of intensity it was when he was coming through his wrestling career, he was in the room every day. Sometimes it would be coaching, sometimes it would be working with kids, but he was on a wrestling mat with wrestling shoes on. And it's a different thing, it's just a different mindset. Daniel Cormier used to tell me how he was going to beat somebody. And let me give you a great example. Daniel Cormier is going to go fight Frank Mir. He told me his strategy just like he had told me it before he fought Roy Nelson. Do you want to know a built-in piece to Daniel's strategy as he's laying this out for me? And this is, Daniel's this big star now and everybody loves him. And he wasn't back then. He was a tough night out, that's for damn sure. But he wasn't a big star. These weren't main event fights. And Daniel told me, I'm going to get a hold of this guy. Well, boom, now you're wrestling. Right now, as soon as you grab the guy, you're now wrestling. You can be in an upright position, but you're now wrestling. I'm going to get a hold of this guy. I'm going to push him into the fence. Now he said, now, Chael P, I'm going to have to put up. I'm going to have to put up because the crowd's going to be booing. I need Herb to understand. I'm out there working. I'm a foot stomp and knee him in the thighs. Daniel learned like all these dirty, all these rough. I don't think they're dirty at all. Dirty implies illegal, but Daniel will call them dirty. He learned it by fighting Josh Barnett. Josh is grinding into his ribs and Josh is covering his mouth, and it inspired Daniel. So at any rate, he's going to go in, both with Frank Mir, both with Roy Nelson. He's going to push him into the fence. He's going to put up with the crowd booing. And that was a really tremendous skill. It really was. Most guys cannot handle that. Most guys cannot take that. Most referees cannot handle that or take it. If the crowd begins booing, the referee will take action. He will separate you. He will bring you up. He will do something. He's a human being. And so Daniel's ability to know what he does well and what he does better than his opponent, and to openly know, I'm at 15,000 people booing, and what I need to do, I need to be tough, I need to be disciplined enough to stay in there. I'm just sharing with you, right? Like that's another end of the spectrum, but it is a very rare one. I provided you multiple examples. Dan Henderson, who it worked out for. Josh Koscheck, damn good career. Johnny Hendricks, damn good career. But was a trade. Josh and Johnny would back me up if they were here right now, and they would say, yes, when we got good with the boxing, it did pull down our wrestling because we spent our time working on the boxing and not on the wrestling, and that tool wasn't as sharp as it once was. That is the truth. And the only example I could offer on the other side of it was Daniel, who knew, I'm going to push these boys in the fence. I'm going to control them. Wrestling, we call it the danger zone. You got to have an underhook to do this. You got to have good head position to do it. The leg of your underhook's got to be in the middle. We call this the danger zone. But it's a very difficult thing to deal with, particularly when you're now pushed up against a fence. And I'm just sharing, like Bo Nickal. And the biggest threat that Bo is facing right now is human nature. And human nature says, you've wrestled and won all of these things since you were a little boy. go out and get the oohs and the ahs from the crowd in a different way. And Bo's biggest threat is that urge and impulse winning over, and that he fall in love with his striking.